Welcome back to Project 11, and this is the second video, and as you can see, I went ahead and put the girders into this drawing. And you remember our girder, our nominal size had to be at least a 15. Well, when I got looking into the chart, we don't have a W beam that is a 14. We only have the next level up was a 16, so we couldn't go back, so we had to go forward. So I ended up putting W16 beams in. And you see how I've got this laid out. Here's my columns going up, and then the girders are attached to these columns. And you can actually see the bays, how they lay out now. Now I'm going to go in between, and I'm going to put the intermediate beams in. And we're going to use W beams for this, and there's another formula. Let's go back to our nominal dimension calculations, and it's number 3. Calculate nominal size of intermediate beams using W beams, and these are spaced about 8 to 12 foot apart. And looking in here, use the formula approximate depth equals span divided by 22. So this is what we're looking at. So our span is between these, and we're going to run these beams from here to over here, and we'll probably just need 2 of them in here, because remember we can run between 8 to 12 foot, so we'll put 2 of them in here, and that would split it up in 10-foot increments. So let's go in here and do some calculations. Remember, this is span divided by 22. So first you take the span, which is 20, and you got to turn it into inches, which you have to times it by 12. So again, 12 times our 20, which would be 240. 12 times 20. Okay, 240, just making sure. And then I want to take and divide it by 22. Just that simple. It says I need a 10.9 at least. So they don't make a 10.9, they don't make an 11, but they do make a W12 beam. So we're going to have to use 12s here. So I want to go back into my project, and I want to open it up back up here to my floor plan, and I'm going to put a couple in. Hit beam, and I want to go to a W12, and I want to put a couple of them in here just for our purpose of seeing it. And we're going to put, I'm just going to shoot a couple of them in here, and then we'll do a equal spacing on it. And you see how that shows up. Now I've got 26 as the pounds per foot, but now the structural engineer, like I said, will be the one that will give you that information. So real quick, I want to adjust these things and align these things up, and I want to equal them out. So take a look at it, and you can see this is the girders, these are the intermediate beams. And if we took a closer look, and I'd put these through the whole thing, this would be so we can put our decking on for the floor. But I want to zoom in close. These are flush right here, the tops of the beams. But if you'll notice, the girder is a little bit bigger, and that's exactly the way it's supposed to be. The girder is a heavier beam. It takes more weight. It's taking a lot more structural. These intermediate beams are just more or less there to hold the floor up. Okay, and that's the reason that we divided them with a larger number, so it'd be actually a smaller nominal size dimension. And those are in. And what I would do at that point, I'd go ahead and I'd shoot them throughout the rest of the floor. So now, with that one done, let's move on. Let's look at our next part, which is putting in joist girders. Now, joist, they are used in large span areas, and they can span in any type of situation. There are different applications. They've got advantages and disadvantages, and that was in your reading. They're usually where they're so much thinner and lighter, they have to be thicker to meet the same objective the depth has to be wider to meet the same objective as a W-beam because they're solid. Now the joists are like little trusses. They use round bar and they use angle iron to make these. And I'm getting ready to show you an example. But now for a joist girder, just keep that in mind. A joist girder, they're the heavy ones. They're the main support. Okay? And we're going to use the same thing here again. And I'm going to go to level 3 on this one. And we're going to put a joist girder from here to here, all the way around these 4 corners here. And this is what it's going to look like. Let's go in, let's do our calculations first. So we get our approximate depth of the joist girder by span divided by 14. We know the span is 20. 20, turn it into inches, times 12 equals 240, and then we divide it by 14. We need at least a 17 inch depth